Welcome back to the final edition of the AFC version of the preview and predictions for the 2019 NFL season. And I think as far as the AFC goes, man, we saved the best for last. We have the AFC West on tap. I know I got a lot of friends, a lot of family who are big AFC West fans, either Raiders, Chiefs, Broncos, and Chargers, man. So it should be fun to talk this one up.
Yeah, I'm excited because this one probably has... It's the funnest division to talk about because of the players,
in the AFC.
The coaches, the drama.
Maybe in the NFL.
They are,
yeah.
Come on. They are up there.
It's nuts. There's a lot to talk about here on this one. I expect this episode to be a little bit longer than our previous episodes. But let's get to it, man. Let's start talking about the AFC West and what we see happening this year. For me, man, it looks like our differences are going to start towards the bottom here because, you know what, man? I'm going to just say it. I think the Raiders are going to surprise some people and finish ahead of the Denver Broncos. I'm picking Denver fourth, and I'm going to go with the Raiders at third. I don't think you're going to agree with that.
No, I got the Oakland Raiders finishing fourth, and then I can already feel the pitchforks and the hate coming my way. That's all well and good.
You better watch out for Raider Nation, man.
Raider Nation, they're not going to be around in a year because they'll be in Vegas.
They'll be gambling.
Yeah, they won't be there. So, I mean, you have John Gruden, who completely tore this team apart last year.
Yeah, he
traded
did.
his two probably best players.
Yeah,
and Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper. It's the team you're picking third again. Just want to remind you.
Yeah, I did.
You're my best player.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah, you're my best player. I don't need you.
You know, they really felt the loss of Khalil Mack because this defense was pathetic. I can't defend that. That defense was horrible last season.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what they were, and it's like, oh, if somebody could just be on that team and get a sack. Side note, did you know on Twitter, I think you do know, that John Gruden was blocked on Twitter by Antonio Brown?
Well, that's the...
Don't worry about it. That's John Gruden.
I mean, yeah,
it's John Gruden.
Basically, it's John
How do you
Gruden.
know that's not John Gruden being fake John Gruden just to throw out some stuff?
Yeah, you know, and that's just going to be the beginning of the drama
Yeah.
for the Oakland Raiders. I'm not saying that the Raiders aren't going to have any drama this year. Hell, they've had enough for the whole season. They haven't even played their second preseason game, and they've had more drama than most teams have in a year.
I mean, you look at the talent. They have brought talent. I won't disagree with that. They brought talent. They brought in Antonio Brown. I'm going to just give you two names, though. I'll give you three. Antonio Brown, Vontaze Burfict, Richie Incognito.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, that's what that is.
Look, but those three guys are so crazy that they're bound to win some games. That's the way I'm looking at it, man. I mean, look, I know, like you said, this team couldn't get a sack. I think they finished last in the league in sacks. I don't think one player on their team had more than 4 sacks. I mean, I could be wrong, but I know I'm not far
They were
off.
low, yeah.
I think the leader on the team had 4 sacks. So, look, they missed Mack big time. That just goes to show you how valuable a player like Mack was. But we'll see what they get in return for those draft picks. But, yeah, look, the strength isn't the defense, so I'll just shut up about it. The offense shouldn't be too bad. You talked about AB, and say what you will. I'm not. I'm far from AB's biggest supporter. I am the one that's on the record that said I wouldn't want AB on my team, but I can't deny that without a shadow of a doubt, AB is the most talented wide receiver in the game today, and that's going to amount to some points. That's going to amount to some wins. Derek Carr was an MVP caliber quarterback in 2014 before the back injury. Look, he's a couple of years removed from it now. Hopefully he's getting comfortable under John Gruden's system, and he can ball out with a player like AB. So I'm not saying – I think this offense is going to be better than most expect.
Well, we got to make sure AB is going to be around because right now I think he just made it a practice after floating in his hot air balloon trying to thaw his foot out looking for a new helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy – this is not even game 1 of the preseason, and he was doing shenanigans like that. What's going to happen if they go through a losing slump or Carr doesn't get him the ball? Because, again, thought experiment, your right tackle is – Colton Miller.
Yeah, and I know all about Colton Miller as a UCLA fan. He did no favors for Josh Rosen, at least in that last season. I remember seeing the turnstile that was Colton Miller. Now, I know they like the physical aspect of him. I know they like his measurables, his size, his speed. But, as far as I know, the technique wasn't there, at least at UCLA. But, hey, you never know. He was drafted in the first round. Probably not for a very good reason.
No.
These are the Raiders. I'm not going to defend the Raiders blindly. I just think they may surprise, and they are crazy enough to get the job done. And on the opposite side, Denver, man. I mean, what makes Denver any better?
Because I think, okay, when I look at Denver, the one thing I do is, well, I look at Oakland's draft, and I'm not overly impressed. Like, Cleveland Farrell is a good player, but he's not an edge rusher. You're not bringing Cleveland Farrell in. He's not Nick Bosa. He's not Josh Allen. He's not going to come off the edge and get you sacks. He's like a power end, you know. He's a guy that's going to stop the run, and that's fine. You got Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Abraham, the running back and safety. I thought Oakland's draft was okay. Where I think people need to understand is when Denver hired Vic Fangio, who, 49ers fan, you know who Vic Fangio is. He was the one that helped build that defense that got us to 3 straight NFC championship games to the Super Bowl with Bowman and Willis,
Right.
you know. And, you know, wherever he's gone, he's got good defenses. I mean, look what he did with the Bears. Now, yes, the Bears had talent, and we'll see what the Bears are this year without him, but he's able to put great players in great positions to win. Okay? And that defense has Von Miller. They still have Chris Harris. They have, you know, the team around them that I think can handle Wolf, Goetz. I think that team looks well. And on offense, you know, you're bringing over Rich Gangarelli, who's the quarterback coach for the Niners, and he's going to run a lot of what they used to run back in the day, outside zone, boot action. And
Thinking of Bradley Chubb.
Bradley Chubb, thank you. That was what was killing me. It was a Chubb. I knew it was a Chubb.
Yeah, I always want to say Nick Chubb.
I want to say Nick Chubb
And
too, but it's Bradley. Bradley Chubb. And so when I look at that, and plus I look at their draft, I like Noah Fant to help with that passing game, helping Flacco with that passing game. You know, you added Dalton Reisner, an offensive lineman.
Just look what you just said, dude.
Yes.
Helping Joe Flacco. There is no helping Joe Flacco at this point in his career, man.
I think Joe
Derek
Flacco
Carr is a better quarterback than Joe Flacco.
I'll give you that, but I think that when I look at Joe Flacco has somebody that's going to help him. I think Scangarelli's going to put Flacco in a better position than Gruden's going to put, you know, Derek Carr. Gruden and young quarterbacks don't get along all that well.
You know,
he's got a history of that.
Pretty terrible track record.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at their draft, and when I look at the team, they're not as flashy. They don't have as many great, elite players, but they just play a sound one. I trust Fangio. His defense is going to be up to par. And I just look at, all I have to break it down to is Colton Miller versus Von Miller. And, I mean, he's going to be running for his life.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And hopefully, you know, John Gruden can scheme up Derek Carr to get some quick 3-step drops, get the ball out of his hand quickly, because this is there's some mean pass rushers in San Diego and Denver. Not so much with the Chiefs. If you take Frank Clark but you know, but aside from him, you know.
And the one player we didn't talk about for the Raiders that I do think is Trent Brown, who was the Niners right tackle, went over to New England on a trade when they got McGlinchey, played left tackle, and the reason he didn't stay with the Niners was the Niners running game just didn't. He's a 360-pound behemoth, 6'8". So if you're running a power game like New England, inside zone game,
it works.
It works. The Niners and Broncos have had they've played a lot of preseason, and Von Miller has said that's one of the best tackles he's went up against because of his size and length and his ability to stalemate, you know, Von Miller. So I mean that's good for his left side. I just think the rest of the offensive line for Oakland, and I just look at it like we're going to find out right away because they open against each other.
Right.
So we're going to find out right away. But I just think that Denver's built, I think they're built more to handle if they lose. Because neither one of these teams are going to win 10, 11, 12 games.
No, I don't think so.
No, not at all. But
where would you place these teams with wins? What are you looking for?
6, 7 wins, 8 at the most.
Yeah, I see these teams anywhere from 5 to probably 7 wins.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Denver tops out at 8 wins. And I think Oakland's going to be a firestorm. Unless this team's either going to win the Super Bowl or have the 3rd overall pick.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you on that.
You know, but Denver, I just feel it's a solid team. They're always going to be ready in and out. And yeah, Flacco's not better than Carr, but I think Flacco brings stability to that quarterback position. I think that he is an upgrade over the quarterbacks they've had prior.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I also think that they have a better line than the Raiders overall.
Yeah.
So I think they can protect Flacco better. You still have Emmanuel Sanders over there, who's a nice veteran.
I think at defensive end and at cornerbacks, Denver's better. They've got better defensive end. They got better pass rush and better corners. And to me,
anybody have.
Yeah.
Drunken blind men have better pass rush than the Raiders do.
So I think that's what's gonna slow that down. And man, all you got to do is frustrate AB, and he's screwed you.
But there's players on the back end of the Raiders defense, young players like Garyon Conley, Carl Joseph, the safety. I know they were shopping him, but again, he was somebody that was highly regarded out of the draft. And if you can get a couple of young players to step up, hey, the defense can be decent.
Decent's like that's like me saying the Broncos are gonna win 9 games.
Yeah, you know,
It's just because I look at the Raiders, and if AB did that, pulled all that on guys that actually trusted, believed in him, like Ben, like Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin loved Antonio Brown. Don't ever get that twisted to anybody out here listening.
That's why he got away with all
kinds of stuff he did. He got away with. You think John Gruden's gonna love him that way? John Gruden, the minute he drops a pass, John Gruden's gonna ask he get cut. You know how John Gruden is. He's temperamental. I'm not saying that's what he wants, but in that moment, he went and backstabbed Keyshawn Johnson when he was in Tampa. I'm not comparing the two as far as that. I'm just talking about the mentality of. You don't even know if he trusts the quarterback yet.
I think he's got to now. He's got to. Well,
he's
the only reason why I doubt that is because of that big contract. I mean, Gruden, he has free reign right now.
Yeah. So I don't know if you don't.
But here's my thing. He has to make Antonio Brown work. He doesn't have a choice.
No, yeah.
That's too high profile of a move to fail. At least this year.
Yeah,
give him a year.
At least a year.
You know, that's the way I look at the Raiders, man. But without a doubt, like I said, I think it'll be interesting to see these two teams.
And there is a gap between 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, I think.
Right. So moving on to 1 and 2, a lot of friends, a lot of family are fans of these two teams, man. And I'm going to pick the Chargers to finish second and the Chiefs to finish first. I think the Chargers are every bit, if not more talented than the Chiefs. I also think that there's a deficiency at the head coach as compared to the Kansas City Chiefs.
The gap between Andy Reid and
is big.
Anthony Lynn is pretty big.
And I'm going to call it what it is at this point. And I think the gap at quarterback is bigger than we care to admit. And I love Phillip Rivers. I think he's a warrior. I would never hesitate to want to draft Phillip Rivers on my team. But at this point, man, Mahomes is on a whole nother level of the game right now. I mean, he is the reigning MVP. And because of that, I'm giving the Chiefs the edge. I know you really like the Chargers, but I think even you're kind of backing off on the Chargers, man.
It's just because every time I bring up their name, somebody gets hurt. I just can't do it to them anymore. I feel like I'm jinxing them.
For like 3-4 years.
Yeah, because I've been high on the Chargers for a few years now. And I mean, even last year we talked about the Chargers, and like a couple days later, Hunter Henry goes down for the year.
Yeah.
Like, that was killer. And I wanted to pick them again because I love the talent. That team is one of the most talented. They're more well-rounded than the Chiefs.
They are.
They are.
Yeah, no argument there.
They don't have a Tyreek Hill, but you know what? Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, Hunter Henry. Then you look at, I mean, their offensive line is a little bit of trouble, but on defense,
no, they have Pouncey, they have Okung.
They're okay. I think they're tackled. I mean, but Okung was hurt or he was sick, wasn't he?
There's always they're always missing.
That's
games,
the one that caused me this year.
There, that's a good squad.
And then on defense with Bosa, you just drafted Jerry Tillery. You added Asir Adderley in the draft. Their linebackers are well. They I feel like they're a well-rounded team, but I think the issue at coach and the fact that they have trouble staying healthy, is a little bit scary. Now, if they were a healthy team and they had like a better coach,
like if you could guarantee health,
if I could say that team stays, if I could make their health 99 like on Madden,
right?
And they had, I'm not trying to knock Anthony. He made the playoffs. He's not a bad coach, but it's just that Andy Reid is a great coach. Andy Reid's a Hall of Fame coach. So when I say that the gap is there, it's not to disrespect Anthony Lynn. I would say that about a lot of coaches. I love Kyle Shanahan. There's a gap between Kyle Shanahan and Andy Reid.
Yeah.
There's a gap. So as a head coach, there's a gap. There's the only one that he has to look up at is Bill Belichick. Is the only, in my opinion, Bill Belichick is the only coach active that Andy Reid has to look up at.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody else is either on his level or below him. I don't care if you've won a Super Bowl or not. His consistency has been undeniable. So
I think there's a couple of holes, though. I shouldn't say holes. Concerns. Reason for concerns about the Chargers on offense. Phillip Rivers, what is he now? 37 years old now.
Yeah.
He's getting up there. He's fought injuries throughout the years. I mean,
Yeah. Is he going to be like, because you
Yeah.
have guys like Drew Brees and Brady who have kind of been able to stand the test of time. And then you have guys like Eli who just fell off a cliff.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Eli, one day Eli was good. The next day Eli was not as good. And you
Bad
wonder,
Eli.
where is Rivers going to lie on that line? Is he going to be the guy that can keep it pace and stay above water? Or is he going to be the guy that in the snap of a finger, he's not a good quarterback anymore? Because if he goes down, they don't have Melvin Gordon. They're off. I mean,
I like their backup quarterbacks. Tyrod Taylor, he's a guy that can fill in for a game or two if need be. You know, he looked good. Cardale Jones is the other one. We were watching him the other day.
He looked fine.
Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah, and I look at like they were a team that was talked about trading for Josh Rosen. You know, when he
Yeah.
was available, that would have been to have him sit for a year behind, to have a succession
Rivers.
plan. Yeah,
that'd be nice.
That would be.
What about the running back spot? That's something that has received a lot of attention over the offseason, man, for San Diego. I always want to call them San Diego. Los Angeles.
It should be San Diego. Let's look at that on the record.
Well, if I slip up, they are the San Diego
They
Chargers.
are. They really are. This LA thing is ridiculous. They have been the San Diego Chargers. They should be
where they belong.
Yes, it is. They don't belong here in LA. They belong in San Diego.
Yeah.
No disrespect, but it's true. Melvin Gordon, I'll never top player, not to get your money, but dude, you're fighting a lost cause, my man.
Yeah,
because
I think so.
I just don't think they look at you that way. You know,
I don't think the league looks at him that way.
No, I never looked at him. He's in a tier below Zeke, Gurley, Saquon. You know, those are the top. Lev Bell, they're the top running backs, and then it's a little bit gap.
Go into like Shady McCoy still.
Yeah.
I'd rather pay him honestly, even at this point.
Yeah.
And you know what? They got a decent backup over there. Austin Eckler, he was making some plays in the preseason.
And last year he was pretty good too. I mean, I think the issue is that most of these running backs, they just can't stay healthy to take that kind of grind anymore. So you want to have multiple. Like you can't lean on Austin Eckler the way you could probably lean on a Lev Bell or a Zeke. You know, even Gurley's breaking down. You know, I think, but Gurley had that knee injury, so I mean, that's kind of it. It's a little bit different. You look at their offensive weapons; it's the interior of their line. You want to make sure it's solid. When they in the playoff game against New England, I mean, New England just ran the ball down their throat. They had no answer for that. They hope Jerry Tillery, the big D tackle out of Notre Dame, is the answer to that. You know, and be able to at least stuff the run and let guys like Bosa and Melvin Ingram kind of have at it.
I mean, I just feel like the Chargers' game plan was like stop Tom Brady, and they just didn't think about the run.
No, they didn't.
That's the way I took that game,
Yeah.
because there's talent on that D-line, man.
Yeah, but you know what it was though? They weren't big. They didn't have a lot of like interior, because the way they beat like Ravens and some other teams, they got like 6 defensive backs.
Right.
They just went for, and they just said we have so much speed, we're gonna penetrate. But when they're just running right at you, New England's like, we'll just run right at you. We'll line up Gronk, we'll line up a fullback, we'll line up another tight end.
Bill Belichick will shut that shit down
real quick. Yeah, it's like, oh, you think you're gonna line up 7 defensive backs? I got something for that.
Right.
You know? But that leads us to like the number one team that I finally admitted they are probably gonna win that division.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really high on the Chiefs, and not only am I picking the Chiefs to win the AFC West this season, I think, in my opinion, they are the early favorites for the Super Bowl. I think that they probably should have beat the Patriots last season. Dee Ford kind of blew it with his offsides. I think Kareem Hunt really hurt them last season with his brain-dead self.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, you know what? They're going to be back at it, man. And I think there's no reason to think that Mahomes, maybe he won't put up the numbers he put. I mean, the guy had over 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns in your first year as a starter. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's Marino level right there.
That is Dan Marino level type of stuff. And you know what? I think Mahomes has the weapons on this offense it's a long list of weapons.
I mean, you look at the guy they drafted, Nicole Harmon, the wide receiver out of Georgia, who's lightning quick. I mean, they drafted him not knowing if they were going to have Tyreek Hill available to them. And you look at what...
Goodell...
I don't know.
Apparently, it's okay. You just, I don't know. I don't even want to get into Goodell. But
that's like...
But Tyreek Hill is playing.
Yes, he's back. No suspension, not even a fine. It is what it is on that. But now that gives them all these weapons. And Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. The running game... I mean, do they really need a top running back when you have all these weapons on offense? I mean, you still have Sammy Watkins, which I completely forgot about.
Sammy Watkins.
So you have Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, Nicole Harmon, who ran that jet sweep. I mean, and then you have Andy Reid, who's going to look at all these weapons like, imagine what he can do with all of that speed and Kelce.
Yeah, and like I said, he's going to be scheming up for days over there, especially on these teams. Now, these teams have some tough defenses in the division. So I think division games are always tough. These rivalries die hard in the AFC West. So it's not like I'm saying the Chiefs are just going to blow the doors off everybody. It's going to be tough, especially between them and San Diego. I believe that's going to be. I mean, it's not like I'd be shocked if San Diego stayed. If San
Diego beat them last year, I think, in Kansas City. No,
right? Yeah. Exactly. So I'm not shocked. These are rivalries here, but like you said, man, you mentioned some of these names. Now, the cause for concern, I have no concern on the offense
at all.
At all. It's the defense. The defense, man, you got Frank Clark and a whole lot of nothing else, in my opinion. So they lost D Ford and got Frank Clark.
They also lost Justin Houston.
And they lost Justin Houston, right. And even though he was getting up there in age, I mean, he's still a guy that can rush the passer.
Yes.
And, for a few plays. Yeah, you need him. They brung over Emmanuel Ogbah, too, who, again, I know like the Dallas Cowboys were high on him in the draft, but he really has not shown out, at least up to this point in his career. But maybe they can get something out of him, man.
And you have
you
Honey
do
Badger.
have the middle line. You do have Honey Badger.
Yeah.
You do have Honey Badger. The thing is, the 4 dudes that are playing in front of the Honey Badger as DBs, they're no good, man.
No.
I mean, those cornerbacks.
They're going to need to score a lot.
Bashad Breeland, right? I mean, I just seen this dude get beat week after week after week. They had Orlando Scandrick, the former Cowboy. He was getting beat, too. He's not even on the squad. They're suffering, man. They're suffering right now at that defensive back position. But you know what? Maybe Honey Badger can make a few big plays because sometimes even though you give up a lot of yards, as long as you can, get a pick and
keep them out of the end zone.
Yeah.
Keep
then you'll be okay.
If you could keep the teams like that for the Chargers, for the Chiefs, the goal is to keep them out of the end zone because your offense is going to get into the end zone.
Yeah, without a doubt. They're going to put points on the board, man. So, and again, I do like the middle linebacker, Anthony Hitchens. I don't think he's on the level of a Jalen Smith or a Van Der Esch, but the Cowboys miss him. Like, he was a badass middle linebacker. He had a good year last year. So, they'll be okay. They'll be okay on defense.
I think
but when you have an explosive offense
okay
like that,
is all you need to be.
Exactly. An okay defense is going to get you where you want to go.
That's all. And, I mean, you just look at how many wins can this team compile? I mean, like you said, outside of the division, I mean, they do have some games. I mean, you're still looking at, they do have to play. They do have Green Bay. They do have the Rams. The Bears. And they go to the Bears late at the end of the season. Cold. So it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to a game like that because they're going to test that offense on slow, cold turf, Right. And that's the key to slowing. I think that's the key. And if New England went into Kansas City and won, correct? Last year in the AFC Championship game?
Yes.
Now, we both agree that the Kansas City's division is going to be harder. If New England can find a way to host the AFC Championship and you have to take that offense to cold weather against Belichick, who's going to run the ball, I mean, then, that's what gets tested, And like we said, the one guy that Andy Reid has to look up at is Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
So to me, is the one Achilles heel. The Achilles heel on that offense is not players. It's not coaching. It's just where are you playing? Much like the Colts of a generation before, the Rams before that.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. So, again, we want to recap this thing. We are going Chiefs.
Yes.
We are going Chargers.
Yes.
And then we're split between the Raiders and Denver finishing 3rd and 4th.
Yes.
But, yeah, man, it's fun, man. The AFC West should be a fun one to watch in 2019. But, again, man, I'm just going to say I think the Chiefs got this one. And at the very least, man, it's entertaining as hell, dude. So, all right, man, that's going to wrap it up for the AFC previews and predictions. The next episode should be the NFC North.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Then we'll go down to the South, and we'll do East-West. So, I love the NFC. But for now, man, the AFC West should be fun. We will catch you on the NFC episodes coming up soon.